Please welcome Richard Sim.
Hello, RDC. Woo! Thank you for joining. My name is Richard Sim. I support the product team that works in the economy group. We are primarily focused on ads right now. And I love that my success in my role is really defined by how effectively we're able to enable you to earn more. So today, I'll talk about immersive ads, but before I begin, just by show of hands, how many of you have thought about or are actively using immersive ads? Okay, awesome, that's pretty good. If I am doing my job successfully, every one of you in this room will walk out feeling compelled to use immersive ads. And if that is the case, I will do a plug because we have a lunch and learn just after this, where you can come and not only learn from me, but learn from our publishers, our developers who have earned using immersive ads, so you can learn more about how to be successful. So you've heard this before. At Roblox, we believe that our economy will model the real world. But also, where possible, we will go above and beyond. Imagine a world where things like loyalty, pricing discounts, exclusive access to benefits could be linked between what you do in Roblox and what happens in the real world. I oftentimes get questions like, Richard, do you ever think real-world commerce will ever happen on Roblox? And my answer is, it's not a matter of if, it's really a matter of when. So as we think about how to build towards this future, there are three principles that we use to guide our investments. And you've probably heard this already through the day, but it is really true. Firstly, we think about how to put you, our community, first. How do we ensure that everything that we do puts you front and center so that you can focus on creating, on building these incredible experiences or incredible avatar items? And how do we make sure that you can do that as seamlessly as possible? The second thing we do is how do we make our economy as accessible as possible to everybody? You may not know this, but among our users on Roblox, a single-digit percentage actually spend. So if you're earning on Roblox just through selling developer products, maybe selling game passes, you're focusing on this small percentage of users on Roblox. We want to make it available so that any one of you, regardless of if you're just getting started with your experience and you find it really hard to get that very small percentage of users to actually spend money in your experience, we want you to be able to earn, which is why we came up with engagement-based payouts and why I'm super excited to share with you some of the updates on immersive ads. And finally, we think a lot about how to diversify the options that you as a creator have to earn. You've already heard this earlier today, and we will spend most of this 30 minutes talking about immersive ads. So you've seen this slide. We have made incredible progress providing you with many different options to earn. And this year alone, we've really doubled down on this. Whether it's through limiteds, creation everywhere. I know that developer subscriptions is super exciting. I'm very excited about this as well. And immersive ads. So you've heard this before. At Roblox, we are reimagining the way that people come together. It's been super inspiring for me to look at all of the situations and scenarios that we're able to bring to life through your creativity. And at Roblox, we are humble. We know that we cannot do this alone, but what we can do is build a platform that empowers you to do this. We're also applying the same approach to advertising. Imagine what advertising could be like if you started from scratch, if you learned from some of the mistakes of our predecessors, if you built a system that was vision aligned and rooted in principles from day one, we are committed to doing this with Immersive Ads. All right. So those ad experiences were real. They're active, they're live. And to me, they look nothing like ads that I've seen elsewhere. We are committed to building immersive ads in a truly Roblox way. We want ads that are delightful. We want ads that do not distract, but they add value to user experiences. Our ads need to be safe, of course, native and immersive in the experiences that you've worked so hard to create. And finally, respectful of privacy. That's how we built Roblox, and that's how we plan to continue to build immersive ads. So today, brands like Paramount Pictures can launch a blockbuster movie on Roblox and drive discovery at scale using portal ads placed in experiences. So in this case, we're looking at a viewing party where, as a user, I can discover Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in this portal. I can walk through and teleport and not only watch the trailer, but I can do this with my friends. I can play the experience. I can also potentially even interact with people from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Where else can a brand deliver this type of rich, immersive, branded experiences at scale to their target audience? Now, about a year ago, I stood up on stage and I announced our plans to build immersive ads from scratch. And it was a little nerve-wracking, and as soon as I was done, I went back to the engineering team and said, oh crap, we have to build this. We've committed ourselves. And we were able to deliver that earlier this year, so we're now in beta. And we've accomplished a lot more. So I think about this year as a year of learning, right? We launched, we're getting feedback from our advertisers, from our publishers, and we're going to continue to iterate. Next year, I'm very excited because I call this the scaling year. We have the Roblox Partner Program where we've partnered with agencies and Roblox developers who've been leaning in and will help us get the word out. I will tell you, a lot of advertisers don't even know that they can reach their audiences in these creative ways on Roblox. And so our partner program is going to be very effective in driving that awareness. We're going to drive innovation. We're going to be focusing on brand new formats that will continue to delight and drive value for our users and our developers. So I'm now going to dive into both the supply and demand of immersive ads. Now, if you've ever sat into an economy class, you're familiar with this concept of supply and demand. It essentially explains the relationship between pricing and the demand for a product or the supply for a product. So immersive ads have been built like a marketplace, right? And it's interesting. It's different from how we built our user ad and sponsored ad system. It's a marketplace where advertisers can bid on the outcomes that they want. They can expressly pay that, and the price of those are determined by this intersection of supply and demand. So in this case, when I talk about the supply of immersive ads, essentially it's publishers who've chosen to put these ad impressions into their experience, right? So the more you're going to get paid for these ad impressions, the more likely you're going to want to put these ad impressions into your experience, and the supply grows as the pricing goes. On the demand side, demand is represented by advertiser budgets. It's the demand for these ad impressions. And of course, as the price goes up, you sort of demand less because you don't want to pay as much. And it's the intersection of both of these that determines the price of immersive ads. And so I'm going to get into details on both of these sides. So let's dig into advertiser demand. Or of course, what that means is the advertisers that are willing to pay for these ad impressions to reach their users. So you've seen this number before. We have over 200 plus brand activations on Roblox. These are brands who have invested time, money, partnered with many of you to drive creativity. And a lot of these brands have already started advertising using immersive ads. I mean, this is a small sample. This is a small sample of advertisers who have paid immersive ad dollars to be able to partner with you and show these experiences, show these ads in your experience. And it's a good cross-section. You've got some retail. You have some entertainment, fashion, music. And why do they come to Roblox? We've already talked about the creative canvas, right? Nowhere else can you deliver that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles deeply immersive viewing party with your friends, right? But we also have the scale. We have 37 million 13 plus users who come to Roblox every single day. That's more than 100 times the traffic to Times Square. Massive, massive reach. And we have brands like Looptopia who have leaned into Roblox to try to deliver this really incredible brand message around sustainability and around expression. And they've decided that Roblox is one of those unique places where they can do this at scale. And so they've used immersive ads, and they found that they were able to increase visits to Looptopia by 11%, which is pretty interesting. Almost all of those users were brand new to Looptopia. And I love this last one. 11,000 users came to Looptopia because they saw one of their friends portal through and land in Looptopia. So there's this social element as well that drives the effectiveness of our ads. So I mentioned that 2023 was a year of learning. These are some of the things that we've heard from our early advertising partners. And hopefully this resonates with the brands that are in the room. Number one, better targeting. I just need more control over who sees my ad. I want to make sure that the audience that I get to choose is the audience that matters to me. The second thing is brand safety. And it's interesting because this actually impacts both the buy side or the advertisers as well as the publishers or the developers who are putting ads into their experience. But a brand wants to know that if I am advertising through immersive ads, I need to know that my brand is safe, that I'm comfortable with the content that it's adjacent to. And so we're working on providing better controls there. Thirdly, reporting. This is self-explanatory. We just need to do a better job providing you with more insights into the value that you're getting from your ad spend. And then finally, measurement. And this is a little harder. But measurement is tying what you spend on Roblox to reach your objectives with real-world outcomes that, as an advertiser, you care about, right? At the end of the day, you probably want to sell more movie tickets or get more people to buy from your store. How do we combine the signals that we get from Roblox through immersive ads with those real-world outcomes? So this is a preview of some of the work that we're actively doing. As you can see, There's genre targeting. So we will enable an advertiser to choose from the different genres that we make available on Roblox. There's also brand suitability controls, where as an advertiser, I can choose basically the level of risk that I might be associated, that I want my brand to be associated with. So for example, there's some brands who are just like, absolutely not. I will not allow my brand to be in a first-person shooter. And that's okay. We will also allow exclusion lists as well. So hopefully our brands feel more comfortable with running ads through Immersive Ads. But the reason why it's also relevant for a lot of our developers and creators is right now we're in beta, which means that we do not allow every one of our creators to become a publisher just yet. And the reason why is because we don't have these brand suitability controls. And so right now, if you want to show an immersive ad in your experience, you have to be rated appropriate for all ages, which is not all of you. I get it. And so we're actively working on this. And once we have brand suitability controls, which are just around the corner, all of you will be able to become an immersive ads publisher and will be able to earn. We're also going to provide better reporting for our advertisers so that you can see not only how many users teleported to your experience, but how much time did they spend in that experience? Or how much Robux did they spend in that experience? So you can just have a better sense for the value that you're getting through these immersive ads. All right. So we covered the demand side of immersive ads, basically as represented by the brands and advertisers who are willing to spend. I think most folks in this room are likely going to associate more with the publisher side of things, which is, as a developer, should I put these immersive ads in my experience? Am I going to earn? Am I going to take risk in doing so? And hopefully we'll be able to address a lot of those questions. Like I said, this has been a year of learning. We've learned a ton. There's a bunch of really great stuff we have to share with you. All right. I call this a money slide, and I love this slide. So on the left, you see this basic funnel, and it represents the different cohorts of our developer community. And at the very top is sort of the long tail of developers, the 1,000 plus most engaging experiences. In the middle, you've got the torso, and at the very bottom, you've got the top 50 most engaging experiences, right? It's your typical funnel, right? And if you look at immersive ads adoption, what we're seeing right now is that most of the portals are represented in sort of the torso and tail of our developer community, right? So among our top 50 developers, we're not seeing a ton of portal impressions. But what's interesting is if you look at the percentage of earnings. And I know that yesterday, I think, when Dave or Manuel talked about the earnings of our immersive ads publishers, people were pretty surprised, right? So we're seeing in that torso, 11% of earnings is coming through immersive ads. And I will tell you that this was based on the first half of the year. July was a blockbuster month in terms of earnings. These numbers increased dramatically. And look, we have very, very high expectations for immersive ads. And so I would expect these earnings to continue to grow. But don't take it from me. Let's think about our developers and the experiences that they've had with immersive ads. And again, we've got a lunch and learn where we have 2 publishers who have been early adopters of immersive ads. They will share their experiences, right? So you can hear from your colleagues what immersive ads has done for them. So Legends of Speed, right? Early adopter of immersive ads. They launched a few years ago. They primarily monetize through microtransactions and some EBP. In July, 20% of their earnings came from immersive ads, even more than what they were able to make through engagement-based payouts. So increased revenue for minimal effort. All right, Jailbreak, right? I mean, this is tried and true Roblox experience, been around for many, many years. Very loyal customer base, right? They're very careful about their users because they've built them up over many, many years. They tried both image ads and portal ads and found that images were just a better fit for their experience, right? I mean, let's be real. In any city environment, you're going to see ads. Why not get paid for those ads, right? And so I love some of the quotes that we got from Jailbreak. They're unbelievably natural. They add new life to the city environment. And what I will tell you is that we have these two different ad types, right? We have these image ads. They're essentially billboards that show up in Jailbreak, and you might be walking down the street and you see a billboard ad. And we have these portal ads. Remember the supply and demand concept that I shared with you earlier. Right now, there is massive demand on the portal side. In fact, we have 10x as much ad dollars that are spent on portals than on images. And so if I'm a publisher, I would expect that if I'm putting in portal ads, I'm probably going to earn more because, again, that intersection of supply and demand is going to increase prices for that. Image ads you can also earn, and I do expect the demand for image ads to increase. But I've heard feedback from some developers who said, look, I put in some image ads, I barely got paid anything. And again, it's because that demand is not quite there, but it is growing. All right, Avatar Outfit Creator. They are also a newer developer on the platform. They launched in 2022. They're part of this emerging category, right, of avatar-based experiences. Now, they've historically monetized through affiliates, right, affiliate fees and some EVP. And I've spoken with Brad and Evan, and let me tell you, Immersive Ads has had a very big impact on their ability to build and innovate and to make their experience more expansive and to invest further into building their experience. 30% of their earnings came from Immersive Ads. And there was no decrease in engagement or overall users. And I'll get into that a little bit later. So I know what you're thinking. I've talked a lot about portal ads. I've talked about image ads as well. And you're like, Richard, as a developer, why would I ever put portals in my experience, right? Why would I ever send users elsewhere? Won't it impact my engagement, my earnings, my discovery? I get it. You spent a lot of time building your experience, and you don't want to do anything that will jeopardize your success on the platform. And what we found, because look, these are questions that we asked ourselves. And remember, we're building community first. So we've asked ourselves, how do we ensure that we build immersive ads in a way that does not harm those publishers? And what we found through holdouts and experiments is that immersive ads across the board on all three of these metrics is neutral. Immersive ads for developers who have put them into their experiences is neutral across engagement, across monetization, and search and discovery. So then you're like, OK, how can that be? How can that be when I put immersive ads into my experience and I put portals in there and people are teleporting out? I think it's based on a few different reasons. Number one, it's a small percentage of users in your experience who actually see these ads, single-digit percentage. And then for those who actually teleport, again, it's pretty small. So the impact is going to be quite small. Number two, we know that most users who teleport out come right back within 24 hours. And we facilitated that by inserting a back button in the menu so that a user can come right back to your experience. And finally, we spent a lot of time thinking about the pricing and how we can ensure that for a developer who's putting immersive ads into their experience, that they are going to be net positive in earnings. And so what we found is that for users who are teleporting out of your experience, you're actually earning more from the immersive ads earnings than you would from those users in your experience. So look, that's where we are today. It's early. Like I mentioned, 2023 is a year of learning. But I encourage you to think about these. And also, don't take it from me. Either find somebody who raised their hand earlier and ask them what their experience has been like, or try it. Try it for a week. I think you'll be pleased with what you see. OK, so how do I do this? If I've piqued your interest and you're like, OK, I think I'll try it. It's Really, really simple. Log into Studio, find the Immersive Ads templates, drag and drop them into your experience. We do instant validation to make sure that the configurations and the customizations that you've done are acceptable to be an ad in your experience. So we do that validation, you publish, that's it. You start earning. And remember, we're working on those brand appropriateness controls so that more of you will be able to just log into Studio and put these immersive ads into your experience. Now, how you do this also impacts your potential for earnings, right? When you put a portal into your experience, there's some best practices and not so best practices. And what you see here is that there's this like bimodal distribution in terms of teleport rates by publisher. And on your left, you'll see those publishers who've probably been really, really conservative about putting portals into their experience, maybe putting them super deep into their experience. And the teleport rates are very low, under 40 per 1,000 hours of playtime. And then on your right, there's those experiences who are probably overly aggressive, hundreds of teleports per 1,000 hours. And so I want to explain this in a little more detail. So we've seen teleport rates in the hundreds per 1,000 hours. And generally, this happens when you put your portal pretty close to the spawn location. You know, I wouldn't necessarily put it where people spawn, where they look and they see a portal, because you want to give your users the ability to explore your experience and to make a choice about whether or not they want to go somewhere else. And so we've seen teleport rates pretty high when you spawn, you sort of look around, ah, that looks interesting. You explore and you decide to walk through the portal. On the flip side, we've seen implementations where the portals are in no man's land, right? And it takes a long time to explore and even find this portal. And so as you can imagine, you're really not going to be earning much from that. So the best practice is to put portals where you expect there to be traffic. So this is basically a heat map of an experience of a map, and it shows you where users are interacting and spending time in your experience. And the best practice is essentially to put a portal where you know people will be congregating, where they'll see it, where they'll have the option to teleport, but you know that it will get discovery. Okay, for those of you who have used portal ads, you may or may not be aware that you can also use backfill images, custom backfill images. So when you put a portal ad into your experience, you're not actually putting an advertiser's creative. You're not putting like the Dick's Sporting Goods ad into your experience. You're putting the unit, and then we programmatically find the appropriate ads to show, and we will programmatically serve those in your experience. But it doesn't mean that every user who comes to your experience has an ad that can be shown. So sometimes there's a backfill image. It's essentially a tilted O. And so you as a publisher can insert a custom backfill image that basically just feels natural in your environment and allows you to not have to waste that space if we don't have an ad available. Ensure that your ad can actually be viewed. So here's an interesting quiz, and it's going to loop again. Count how many ads you see in this experience. I'm going to sort of do a quiz by show of hands. How many ads do you see in this experience? OK, so it's starting now. OK. So raise your hand if you, we'll start easy. Raise your hand if it's 3. OK? 4, 5, 6. OK. The answer in terms of the units that were inserted was 5. Sorry, I have no prizes. But in terms of ad impressions, if you're showing image ads, in terms of ad impressions that this publisher is going to be paid for, the answer is 0. You won't get paid for, I don't even know what that was, right? Advertiser's not going to pay for that. And so make sure that your ads can actually be viewed. And I've had folks who are like, hey, I've got a racing game, and I want to put these image ads next to the track. And my answer is, hey, you may or may not get paid for that, but maybe you can put it sort of at the spawn location where you know that a user will see the ad. And so we basically use the same guidance that the IAB, which is a industry standard set of measurement for what is considered a viewable ad, because we want to make sure that our advertisers are paying for real views. This one's pretty simple. It's a racing game, 2 cars racing. Don't put teleports where you're going to force people to teleport. The guy on the right is never going to win. Chances are this publisher probably won't get paid. We, of course, have heuristics in place. We monitor how developers are implementing portal ads to make sure that they're not gaming the system. So put them so that they're natural in your experience. Don't bury your ads. Again, this ad is behind this wall, and we have heuristics. And I can't show you the exact details, but essentially it's a second of view. The majority of your ad is visible. It's at an angle that actually makes the ad viewable. And so just be smart about how you're implementing these ads, because on the demand side, you have real brands that are paying dollars for these impressions, and we're not going to pay for impressions that cannot be viewed. OK, so what feedback have we gotten from our publishers or from our developers who have tried immersive ads? And these hopefully will resonate with all of you, whether you have done immersive ads or are thinking about it. Number one, pay me more. Absolutely, I get it. And like I said, it's that supply and demand curve, and it's the intersection of both of those that ultimately determine price. Like Roblox doesn't decide how much we're going to charge for these ads. It's that intersection of supply and demand. And what I will tell you is that it is early on the supply side, meaning there's actually not a ton. We have hundreds of publishers who are showing immersive ads, but we have millions of experiences. And so we expect the demand to increase, and I am telling you that demand is going to increase. And so if you're thinking about trying immersive ads, now's the time to do it. On control, I've heard this loud and clear from our publishers. You want to make sure that if someone's going to put a portal ad into their experience, that they will get paid a minimum amount so that they know, especially the bigger developers, right? The ones who have really figured out how to get quite a bit of monetization in their experience. They don't want to send their really, really expensive, their users who are spending a lot of money out of their experience. So we're going to provide pricing floor mechanisms so that as a developer, you can say, you know what, only show ads if I'm going to make more than X amount of money per teleport. We're also going to give you controls over what advertisers are eligible to show in your experience. And it's so funny. I've heard so much feedback from developers who are like, just for personal reasons, I don't want these types of advertisers to show up in my experience. I mean, really, really interesting requirements. And so we want to empower you to do that because it is your experience. Better reporting, right? We'll tell you return rates. How many users teleported out and came back in? And how much time do people spend in your experience before they teleported out? We want you to have the confidence when you're using immersive ads. And then finally, improving teleports, right? We want to make sure that if a user teleports, that they don't do it by accident, right? It is an intentional decision that they've made. We want to enable people to teleport and land together, and then also return back to the original server and retain their state. Now, I know this last one is super complicated, and it's we need to make sure that we do this in a way that does not disrupt your experience, but we're looking at ways to make sure that we can try to enable this for our users. OK. So what's coming next? We've made a lot of progress. I mean, honestly, I was super excited to be able to share with you a year ago our plan to launch immersive ads. 6 months later, we've done a really good job getting the beta out, getting advertisers, getting publishers. And so what's coming down the pike? In Q3, we've got a ton of improvements to sponsored experiences. And I know sponsored experiences has a lot of room to improve. And so stay tuned. There will be some really exciting updates there. We also have the Roblox Partner Program, and we're going to continue to empower them to drive demand and to work with our advertisers. Next quarter, Q4, improved ad targeting, the brand safety work that I mentioned to you before, some of the publisher controls for our developers. And then 2024, it's that year of scaling that I mentioned, right? So we will enable large, complex advertisers who have different permissions and different groups of people running ads to be able to operate on Roblox. We have a bunch of really cool ad formats coming down the pike. I wish I could tell you which ones they were. They're super exciting. You could probably guess what they are, but really excited about new ad formats. I think really great payouts from those new ad formats. And of course, better reporting. And then Q4 is really where we start, honestly, getting to the next level of advertising, where we have third-party validation for things like billing, were my ads actually viewed, brand safety controls, and then partnering to bring more demand into the system. So next steps for you in the room, if I have piqued your interest about immersive ads, log into Studio, see if you can put an immersive ad in your experience, and honestly, just try it. Try it. If you try it for a few days, you're gonna like it, take it out. You can also try immersive ads as an advertiser. You can go in, ads.roblox.com, create an account, run some ads. We have the Roblox Partner Program. A lot of them are here today, and so find some of them, learn more about it. And then, of course, stop by our booth. We're on the earnings booth, and I know that many of us are here to answer some of your questions. So I just want to close. Thank you so much. This is my 4th RDC, and I will say that it's really rare for you to be able to do what you love every single day, get a return for what you love, and then to do that in this community of people who also share that creative energy and literally like clap for you for your success. That is super rare. You never see that. Really. So keep doing what you're doing. Honestly, don't let anyone get in your way, and try immersive ads. Thanks.